What if I told you that even in your darkest winter, there's a summer inside you that never fades? Albert Camus believed this. And today, we'll show you how to find it.
In the midst of winter, I found there was, within me, an invincible summer. These simple, luminous words by the French philosopher Albert Camus are more than a poetic reflection. They are a quiet revelation, a reminder, a torch held out to anyone walking through a dark, cold season of life. Welcome back to Carefree Sloth, a place for those seeking mindfulness, wisdom, and a little peace in a busy world. Today, we invite you to pause, breathe, and journey with us through this idea of an invincible summer that lives within us. Even in life's coldest winters, we all know what winter feels like. Not just the one outside, but the one inside. It can be grief, loneliness, a time of change, an unexpected ending, a growing silence within us that echoes louder than any noise outside. In nature, winter strips the world bare. The trees are naked, the ground is hard, and life seems to pause. But deep below the frost, seeds sleep. Roots still drink slowly. The earth is preparing. So are we. Just as nature retreats to gather strength, we too often find ourselves in quiet seasons that feel cold and isolating, but which may be preparing us for something more. Albert Camus lived through war, illness, and existential doubt. He was no stranger to inner winters. And yet, from this darkness, he gave us this radiant truth. Within us all, even in the deepest cold, there is a warmth that does not die.
What is this invincible summer? It's the part of you that hopes, even when things seem hopeless. It's your ability to feel joy, even if only for a moment, in the midst of pain. It's the quiet resilience that rises after each fall. Camus believed that life is absurd, that we search for meaning in a universe that gives us none. Yet instead of despairing, he urged us to rebel against that meaninglessness by living, by loving, by creating. And so, this invincible summer becomes our inner resistance to despair. It is a still, glowing fire. The memory of sunlight when skies are gray. The laughter that unexpectedly breaks through tears. The moment when we stop searching for meaning and start creating it. That summer is not outside us. It is within. On Carefree Sloth, we often talk about slowing down, about breathing in the moment, about choosing to notice the little things. A ray of light through a curtain, the way tea steam rises in the morning, a single flower blooming by a sidewalk crack. In winter, these small joys are not gone. They're just quieter. Mindfulness is the practice of finding warmth in the present, even when life feels cold. Camus teaches us not to escape winter, but to accept it, and to look within ourselves for the strength to endure it. To trust that within our ordinary, tired hearts, something radiant is waiting to be seen. The world often tells us to hustle, to keep going. But winter, both outer and inner, asks something different. It asks us to stop.
Stillness isn't emptiness. It's preparation. It's where roots grow deep. Just as trees do not panic when they lose their leaves, we too must learn to surrender with grace, to understand that even in our most barren moments, we are not broken. We are becoming. Camus' words invite us not to resist winter, but to enter it. And to discover, perhaps for the first time, that we carry the warmth we've been looking for. There's courage in not pretending to be okay, in admitting we are tired, uncertain, even afraid. But there is also strength in choosing not to stay there, to let our sadness sit beside us without letting it define us. Camus doesn't promise easy answers. He doesn't give us a cure for life's winters. Instead, he gives us a gift far more precious: the courage to keep going anyway, to live, love, and laugh, not in spite of life's absurdity, but because of it. Because even when the world is cold, we can be warm. Even when nothing outside makes sense, we can create meaning through kindness, art, presence, and compassion. The beauty of spring is not that it's loud, but that it's certain. It always returns. The ice melts. The buds break through. The air softens. Even when it feels like winter will never end, life continues its quiet work. And one day, without warning, a flower opens. In the same way, healing is often quiet. It doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it arrives as a calm thought, a new idea, a breath that feels just a little easier than the last.
Camus reminds us that we are not waiting for spring to arrive. We are spring. That invincible summer is already here. Even now. Even today. You do not have to wait for the world to change in order to feel the sun again. So wherever you are today, whether your heart feels frozen or you're just beginning to thaw, remember this. You are not broken. You are preparing. You are not behind. You are becoming. And within you, beneath the stillness, the sadness, the weariness, there is a spark. A soft, stubborn flame that does not go out. That is your invincible summer. Return to it. Sit with it. Let it warm you. You don't have to rush. There is no need to prove anything. The tree does not beg for spring. It trusts it will come. So can you. At Carefree Sloth, we believe in the wisdom of slowness. In finding peace not after the storm, but within it. In discovering joy not through perfection but through presence. Albert Camus knew this. He saw the frost and still found light. And now, so can we. In the midst of winter, I found there was, within me, an invincible summer.
Albert Camus was a French-Algerian philosopher, writer, and journalist whose voice rose quietly but powerfully in the chaos of the 20th century. Born in 1913 in Mondovi, Algeria, then a French colony, Camus came from a humble background. His father died in World War I when Camus was still an infant, and he was raised in poverty by his mother, a cleaning woman who was mostly deaf and illiterate. This modest upbringing shaped his deep compassion for the everyday person and the quiet dignity of simple lives. Camus studied philosophy and began his literary career in Algeria. Eventually, he moved to France and became involved in journalism and politics, particularly during the rise of fascism and the German occupation of France in World War II. He joined the French Resistance and served as editor of Combat, a resistance newspaper. His experiences during the war left a lasting mark on his worldview and writing.
Though often associated with existentialism, Camus resisted that label. Instead, he developed his own unique philosophy known as the absurd. The absurd, in Camus' view, is the conflict between our human desire to find meaning in life and the silent, indifferent universe that offers none. But rather than fall into despair, Camus offered a rebellious and life-affirming response. Live anyway. Love, create, act with kindness, even when the world offers no guarantees. This message shines through in his most famous works. In The Stranger, we meet Meursault, a man who lives without illusion and faces death with honesty. In The Myth of Sisyphus, Camus famously compares life to the fate of Sisyphus, condemned to roll a boulder uphill forever. Yet concludes, one must imagine Sisyphus happy. In The Plague, a town under quarantine becomes a metaphor for human suffering, but also for solidarity, resilience, and moral courage.
What makes Camus so timeless is not just his intellect, but his tenderness. He writes not with arrogance, but with empathy. He does not promise us easy answers, but gently invites us to face life's challenges with dignity and presence. His most famous quote, "In the midst of winter, I found there was, within me, an invincible summer," captures the spirit of inner strength that lies at the heart of his work and of your Carefree Sloth channel. Camus won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1957 at the age of 44, one of the youngest ever to receive the honor. Tragically, his life was cut short in a car accident just 3 years later. But his voice lives on. In his books, his ideas, and in the quiet encouragement he offers to anyone facing the long winters of life. In Camus, we find not just a philosopher, but a companion. Someone who walked through darkness and still chose to speak of light.
Thank you for watching. If this reflection brought you a moment of peace, consider liking and subscribing. There's more calm waiting for you here. One breath, one thought, one sloth-like pause at a time. Stay gentle, stay curious, and most of all, stay warm.